Hello, welcome to GC9x Plays. This time around, we've got Gekkaido, or Gekido, I'm not entirely sure to be honest, Urban Fighters. Tonight with us, we've got...
MisterArgent.
And KaL.
So as you can see, this game was made in 1999 because it features Fatboy Slim and Apartment 26, the latter of which I've never heard of.
Nor I.
But it's important that you know that they've got music from both of these people. It's never a good sign when a game tells you that they've got featured music on the box.
So this game is a 3D beat-em-up that came out for the PS1 only. It did have a GBA sequel, we're not looking at that right now. It's better than Fighting Force, and it's probably one of the best beat-em-ups on the PS1, which isn't saying a lot because there weren't many beat-em-ups on the PS1, but still. It's better than Fantastic Four, though. That said, let's
Yeah, the whole genre died on the PlayStation 1 is the long and short of it.
Overall, I'd say this is actually a pretty good game for what it is. It does have issues, mostly it being in 3D, but it's not terrible at all, I'm honestly saying.
Yeah, Interplay stuff usually pretty decently. Though they could have been the publisher and I could have been...
And this team, I believe, was Italian. They made this one Amiga fighting game that's one of the less bad Amiga fighting games out there, called Shadow Fighter.
Bad Sector? Well, I don't know if that's what normally shows up.
Is that related to the infamous Amiga demo scene group Red Sector? Also, I like not cameo over there.
Yeah, this is one of those games that tries to be anime, even though I don't think anyone in this development team was Japanese. They do better than most, though, I'll say that.
Oh yeah, I like how it abruptly cut to like live action video for like 3 seconds when he was in the tunnel.
Do you really think this is doing better? Because I don't. This is like, well, that was impressive. I know it was mandated by law that all PlayStation 1 games had to have an FMV intro, but they probably should have outsourced theirs.
And of course, this is one of those games that has a long intro FMV, but tells you nothing about the actual plot, so... So we have Urban Fighters, which is basically the main story mode, and we have Arena Battle, which is like a 4-player arena fighter thing.
Grab it.
And so we've got our average dude,
Michelle.
fast girl,
Grab it.
other average guy, and big guy. I'm boring, so I'm going with average guy.
Sweet, it's Joe Average. What was his name? Was it Travis there?
Travis.
I've already forgotten his name. So, it's PlayStation.
Yeah, that's accurate. It's basically the way things work. He's got like a light attack, heavy attack, and a kick.
Did that tire just explode?
It did.
You know, I mean, I said it was PlayStation, but, you know, if you were to replace the enemies here with zombies, you would be, you know, very close to a Resident Evil clone. It's pretty nice looking.
Yeah, the overall direction kind of reminds me of a Dynamic Deck in a weird way.
Also, we got separate buttons for jumping and crouching. Sometimes you gotta crouch and kick things like dogs.
Oh no, you have to fight dogs. That's an instant 0 out of 10.
Roof dogs too.
Does that mean you don't like Wolfenstein either?
Any game that makes you kill dogs is a bad game. That's a known fact.
What about Metal Gear Rising if that counts?
Then it's a bad game. There's no exceptions to this rule. It's quite simple.
I mean, in that case, you kill a robot dog and then rebuild it, but... It was keeping count.
I never trusted that robot dog.
Definitely not that car back there.
Ah, Generale. So this is obviously Italian then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the team was Italian. And of course we get the usual Spring Fury attack. But it's like 3 3 3 where if you fill the meter you don't lose health, and I can appreciate that.
Does it recharge over time, or is it based on hitting enemies?
You have to hit enemies fill up. And you can use it before, but you will lose health, so...
I gotta say, I don't know if I like the fact that when enemies drop items, you get knocked over. That seems like a pain in the ass. Face the wrath of my cylinder.
Also get guns, and I'm pretty sure it's known fact that any beat 'em with guns is automatically better.
Well, as long as you don't have to shoot dogs, because I will not be impressed.
Also we get a rage mode for that blue meter. Just...
Ah, he's gone into Mushu mode.
or Rage of the Gods, or Unleash mode, or whatever you want to call it. But both before that, so I guess it's still original.
Ah, this is his Unleashed form.
You do get a good variety of moves. There are a lot of like dialogue combos and such, and occasionally get new ones as you see there on the bottom left. I think that's a score thing to unlock new combos.
New combo. Hey, it's basically almost exactly a Dynasty Warrior combo.
And then we have Not Vega.
He wants to taste your blood. Which, probably not a good idea at this point, you know? He doesn't know where your blood's been.
For all he knows, you could have pulled a decoy octopus and just dialysis in someone else's blood or something.
I will probably not remember all these combos, so now.
I'm sure you know what's going on, but this definitely is like a hot mess.
Yeah. It's very much in the game, a game in the wander around beating people up vein.
Because there is a lot of particles and stuff just going on screen.
All those blue swooshes and the orange ones too.
Hey, that's not fair. You can't get on the ceiling. So why did you explode?
Okay, basically you have a Fury meter, and that has 3 stocks. And you fill it up with 3 stocks, and then hit the Fury button, you'll power up. And after you power up, you can use a screen-killing move that makes everything explode, basically. Instead of your normal one. The
It's
Fury
nice to see a fat boy model.
When that barrel he dropped blew up, his arms disappeared for a second.
I'm glad they pointed out how 90s the music was going to be, because this is very 90s music.
I hope we won't get copyrighted for this.
If we keep talking about nonsense constantly, it probably won't pick us up. So, let's talk about, you know, Anything. You can't stop talking.
I think we're good. I think we're good on the content end because Fatboy Slim got trapped in the 90s. Like, he literally got left behind when the clock rolled over to 2000.
Oh, but what
so
about
nobody
the
knows
part
who he is
that
anymore.
29 kicks our ass?
I don't think they actually exist. I think they're just Fatboy Slim again, but there's 5 of them.
It's actually Psygnosis' in-house band with a fancy name.
Psygnosis Zoomtata, yeah, that's what they call them.
This is interplay, actually. I don't think they ever had enough money to actually afford a band.
Well, that's why they got Psygnosis. How is that confusing? Oh, sweet, we've got, red lady ninjas.
It's like we're fighting...
Triangle Axe. Thanks, game.
That's quite the combo. How will we ever remember that? I mean, what was it? Square X?
I think you had to press L3.
Yeah, I think... Wait, is this one of those games that just goes into 4 conversions if you have a DualShock connected?
I'm not sure if this game has DualShock features or not. This was like 99 to 2000, so it must have.
And I know there was an older dual stick gamepad for the PlayStation 1 out there, but I don't know if it will run games that don't like the DualShocks either.
It won't. It's literally just the DualShock without the rumble. Or it might be slightly different visually, but it's the same bits. And that's just called the dual analog.
Yeah, that was it.
I'd be more interested to play it with the Namco
The
weird
twisty
trackball twisty controller, yeah.
Yeah, the twisty Tumbletron 52.
I'd love one of those. I'm sure that would make great controller for your PC.
That was basically meant for racing games, wasn't it? The twisty controller? The
Yeah,
Nagcon, that was called,
apparently
right?
it's still quite popular with certain people for the for racing games because it's a nice light handheld thing. Doesn't take up a lot of space, but it actually does a reasonable job of analog controls for racing. Hey, is that the guys from House of the Dead?
I think you might be right.
We're meeting G over there.
Gee, what things?
No, help me.
No, don't come.
Is
I've
this the
always-
Coliseum?
I've always appreciated the voice acting in House of Dead 3, but no one talks about that. Because the
Yeah,
acting's
that's
technically better, but the lines are just as terrible. So,
Mhm.
in a way, I can appreciate that even more.
Yeah. Like, it's...
Hey, does this have like idle people? That's interesting.
Yeah, there are NPCs
It's-
that won't. You can just walk by you, which is interesting.
You
You
know what I'd
often
really
see
love to
that.
see someday? On that note, the original cel-shaded version of House of the Dead 3 that was supposed to be a thing but got vetoed because people didn't like it. This is some pretty
So
nice stages
I'm
into
starting
it.
to notice a pattern about how you play this game.
What do you mean?
Nothing changes.
Well, it's a beat 'em up. I mean, they're not known for their freshness.
Well, the good ones kind of are. That's really the problem. Like each fight that you've experienced so far has been more or less, some guys show up and then you hit them. I don't really feel like an enemy variety. I realize that there's the Chlor guys, but most of these guys seem to have very, very similar personalities.
I think I can see where you're coming from, and I do know some of the unique attacks. It's just, I guess they haven't been wide long enough to show them off, really.
Are there difficulty settings in this game?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure the differences in those are. I think this is normal.
Because this game is obviously, it's approaching a demo scene style game, and it's actually not too unfair if I remember correctly. So it's one of the extremely rare sort of demo scene games that aren't also obscenely difficult.
I wonder why that's always such a trend, those kind of games.
My first first feeling tonight is just that you can't make something super specifically working and also balance it really well. I think they're constrained by what they can pull off.
Like, it's a time thing, right? Time constraints?
Well, it's not just time constraints, it's like, if you want to do a certain effect, and it pushes the system to the absolute limits, you don't have much left to do other things with it. You know, like AI, proper balance, all those things end up taking extra resources from your game. This scene's a little different, but it just kind of seems more annoying.
If there's one thing I would complain with this game is that the hit detection is kind of weird sometimes, since you're done with 3D models. You can lock on to enemies, which kind of helps, but still.
That was a very, very common complaint. I think that might be one of the main reasons 3D beat-em-ups never really performed that well. And I think that you'll find that might be one of the reasons that Dynasty Warrior 2 and onwards was so popular, because they kind of did away with hitboxes by just having you have this humongous area of effect.
I wonder why that's so, like, why so many games like God of War tend to give you big swinging weapons to hit everywhere.
I think it is mostly to compensate for the fact that it's hard to hit things.
Also, I'm pretty sure this guy is supposed to be that one guy from Samurai Showdown. Gelford, I think was his name? Because he's basically on Ninja the Dog.
I always played Lost Blade.
So I know you're like hitting dogs, Cal, but are you okay with hitting gorillas? Is that acceptable?
Look, a gorilla can look after itself. Do you have any idea how strong a gorilla is?
Besides Riot has you kill like 3 gorillas and it's the best game ever, and clearly that's why.
A gorilla can literally rip your arms off. I don't think I need to help a gorilla defend itself.
But, as a wise man once said, who needs arms when you have legs like these? Hence, the gorilla has been defeated.
Yeah, that gorilla went down too fast. Oh wait, he's back up. Go gorilla, go! Kick his ass! I like that the gorilla doesn't get like a proper name, he's just gorilla.
I mean, there was that commander dude from earlier and he didn't count either, but...
Like, is he a gorilla or is he just a really hairy guy?
Could be a
like
guy in a gorilla suit, like God hairs.
Or SpongeBob. And then inside the guy in a gorilla suit is a gorilla in a guy suit, and vice versa. It's like a weird gorilla Matryoshka doll.
Like, I like that there's no thematic overlap here. It's like, what'll this boss fight be? Red ninjas and a gorilla in pants.
Would it help if I said I think the gorilla's also a playable character? You have to unlock it, but still.
Oh, he's doing the Donkey Kong thing. He's throwing barrels. Go, gorilla! Well, I think Donkey Kong's a name. So, yeah, there's 2 unlockable characters, is it? Or are there more than that?
I think there's 2 for the main story mode and a bunch more for the versus mode. Might as well show off a bit of the versus mode, because that's more like a Power Stone kind of thing.
Ooh, cool.
Not as good, because for some reason it's really hard to do Power Stone well, but... I've always wanted to go through a stream of all the games that are like Power Stone, but not as good, because there's so many of them.
Well, you could do it. No one else really wants to. So are you going to be able to show off the verse mode in this, or is it strictly 2-player only?
I believe there are AI opponents, yeah, so I could.
Okay, cool. Doesn't give you much time to pick up those weapons, does it?
Not really. Again, though, I always do appreciate him beat him. Let's use guns. Punisher was great for that.
Yeah, and AVP just gave you a gun the whole time if you played as the humans. I just want to say, like, the whole game's art aesthetic is, like, it's really competently put together, but the overall look is confused.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, you got like these like African military commander guys. You have dudes in red jumpsuits with body armor, and then you have white military commandos. Like, I don't know who you're fighting other than apparently the entire United Nations.
I think the story is about, like, some crime lord who kidnapped a girl so he could do a demon sacrifice or something. I think that's what the manual says.
This game, just in terms of character design, seems to have very little consistency, honestly.
I would show off another character, but I have to use a credit before I can do that.
Well, if you use a credit, we can switch to a character.
I don't know.
And now you have guys in blue. Are they sailors? Are they basketballers? I don't know what they're
police,
supposed
apparently. I guess they're corrupt.
They're the police?
That's what their health bar says.
Hey, it's this guy again.
I like Generali's portrait.
Again, though, for all this game's faults, I mean, what other choice you have when it comes to PlayStation? I mean, maybe pens are banned. That was Japanese only.
Well, the curious thing about the PlayStation, you know, really, as I said, was that the beat 'em up just kind of died. No one cared. Like, as far as I remember, this game was relatively well received, but no one really cared.
I think it was either this or Fighting Force, which people kind of forgot about after. Well, they did have a sequel, but no one likes a sequel, so.
I always thought the sequel was a fairly competent game. It's not amazing, but I thought it was alright.
It wasn't even a BMM anymore, was it?
You could go hand to hand, but it was more of a pseudo-stealthy, action-shooty game. Kind of Siphon Filter mixed with Metal Gear, just kind of a weird little Tomb Raider-y sort of thing. Very, very PlayStation 1 is, I think it had a Dreamcast version as well, but yeah, it feels like that.
I like this set piece a lot. This game does have some really good stage design, I'll say that.
The layouts are really nice, and everything looks like all the environments look pretty convincing. Aside from the ridiculously wide subway we're on now.
Well, it's the future, right? It could be realistic for the future. They need to increase the track width because they need more people in that. Is that a helicopter? What?
Well, in terms of an out-of-game context, realistically proportioned subways don't make for very good fight scenes, to be frank.
Are they supposed to be on fire?
Yes, they are.
Wow, these guys are dedicated.
I would have thought that, you know, on fire you're only slightly more threatening, but you're also on fire.
They don't put much more of a fight when on fire, which I guess makes sense.
Cults have gotten weird.
I do kind of wish this game that gives, like Calyx and Dinosaurs did, when you blow up people. fighting a mummy, I guess?
This is just a joke, isn't it? It's like... What, is mummy with Bison's, like, spinning attack? Come on, guys, what the hell?
KaL, no, you're wrong. That's clearly Dalzine.
What? This is such a game from just, like... Let's put everything we like into the game and not care.
What is he with this guy? What?
I don't think you heard him. The shadow clones are out, so you have to kill them all.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, it's a nice boss. It seems like a lot of enemies really struggle to, kind of fight you. You just sort of get them into a combo and then they're kind of stuffed.
You have a lot of health, I notice, I think is part of it. You'll notice how much this guy is hitting me and how much health I'm losing. Which I can appreciate, but it does make things a little bit easy. I think I'll play through one more stage after this one. That should be a pretty decent idea what the game's like.
Oh.
Well, how long is the game? Just, out of interest.
I don't think I've ever fully beaten it. I think I've ran enough continues at some points.
It's a nice ending hit effect when you beat a boss. Oh, he drops an item. Wow, that's useful.
That's a time bonus, which I don't really need anymore, so...
I mean, is that all the stages there, like the ones that we're looking at?
I'm assuming so, yeah. I'm on my last life, so I can really show off a different character.
Look, some fake reflections.
Yeah, pretty interestingly done there.
I wonder how they're doing that. Is this a trick of textures, I wonder?
Yeah, I know Duke Nukem 3D actually did it by actually having a second copy of the map that was flipped around, but...
I expect it is a second copy underneath there. Because you can't get the angle, so it's probably just a bit of geo that pretends to be the ceiling there. You know, what's interesting is even up until, you know, even now they sort of fake reflection in plenty of games. Oh, it's not recent anymore, but Blood Omen 2 did the exact same trick where it was just geo in the ground.
I'm assuming that's a lot harder to do with 3D models.
What, reflections?
Yeah.
It just means that you either render it, which means that you have to just render twice as much, or you sort of bake it down into a texture, and that's really expensive to do at runtime. So that's not a good solution either.
So, I've always wondered how you would do a beat 'em up in 3D well. I mean, you can do it 2.5D, sure, that's not quite the same thing. I'm more looking for...
Well, doesn't something like does Devil May Cry not count?
I'd say Devil May Cry is kind of an evolution from beat 'em ups more than anything. Like, stuff like God of War, Bayonetta, and all that, that's inspired by beat 'em ups, but kind of like their evolution from them. That makes sense?
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, like, I can't think of many successful, genuine 3D beat-em-ups. They exist. I think it was just more the demand died off, to be honest. Like, people just didn't make them because you kind of had to put in as much work into a 3D beat-em-up as any other genre, but a 3D beat 'em up's gonna last an hour.
I guess Dynasty Warriors technically counts. That's also kind of its own thing.
Yeah, it's basically a subgenre at this point, because you have so many Dynasty Warrior likes and clones and things.
Ah, dang it. Lost my
This whole
credit.
game's like grungy aesthetic and confused look. It reminds me a lot of Zombie Revenge.
That's a game I never really played
Yeah,
much. It was
definitely.
actually good.
It was decent, yeah.
never
Zombie
played as-
Revenge is a very curious game. It's it's quite good, and then there's a couple of features that make no sense and are really hard to use, and are just kind of there.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting as a game, and it
Like there's like secret rooms where you can get items that you can only find in those secret rooms, and then you can't even use them.
yeah, and the House of the Dead connection's pretty interesting.
Also, I walked into an explosion. I died, so go me.
It happens to everyone every once in a while.
So now we're
Well,
Ushi, who is
you know
the
how it is.
quote-unquote big guy of the game. Because you know it's a beat 'em up, you know how they work.
The Mike Hagar. Aren't subway rails usually electrified? This just seems like a giant bad idea right here.
I like the water effects. That's actually really nice.
Yeah.
And that is very, very clearly a hack job. Is it just moving the polygon around?
You know, that might actually be what's going on now that I look at closer.
It's a very clever effect, but I can understand why it wasn't used by many games. Ah, and I have to fight two of these guys. Also, is their character art completely different to their actual in-game art?
Well, they both have pink hair, I can tell that much.
So, does this character control any different or have any additional things?
I think it's... He has any special throws, I'm not quite sure to do them, unfortunately. I know his combos are different. But I'm not doing very well as him, because I think he has a bigger hitbox. Yeah, I'm gonna blame the game, not myself.
Well, you can't blame the game for electrocuting you. Did you lock yourself off from the chicken? No street meat for you, son. I don't really like these assholes that fill the screen with smoke, so it's just kind of harder to see.
Yeah, there's pretty much particles everywhere. It even looks nice, but you're right, that does make it harder to see. As far as I know, I think these people only made one other game after this in Shadow Fighter. That was just a weird kind of arcadey sports game on PS1 called Rage Ball.
Huh. Sounds
Basically,
really
no one's
nice.
ever heard of that game, so I assume it didn't do very well. I'm just ashamed because they're talented. I mean, they know how to use the hardware well.
I think I might have played Rage Ball at some point, or a demo of it, or something. It has the classic 90s cover art with a angry-looking bald guy and lots of spikes.
Can you say that about a lot of modern covers, though, Sarah?
Well, a modern cover doesn't have as many spikes. They tend to go for some other sort of aesthetic.
True. We're missing spikes. I mean, I miss spikes.
Well, do you miss guys in trench coats with lightning?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Actually, if he's wearing a trench coat and he shoots lightning, he's basically Dante. So his name is Mokushi. Is that a real name? Has he got a name? He isn't just called Trenchcoat?
Wait, is that what Makushi means?
I don't know. Let's see if I can find out.
These guys all have awful names.
And that's that stage. That was kind of sudden. As I said, I think I'll show off a bit of the other mode now.
I don't think that even means anything.
Does he have fangs? Kind of looks like it.
Hmm.
Zio Mimo. Al Capone. Well, I know that one. Travis Ryan. Hey, maybe that's the character's full name.
Alright, let's look at arena battle real quick. Unfortunately, I don't have any other characters from off you can use in this, so I guess I'll try this guy then. Actually, you know what? Let's try the Fur instead. And the C pick two more of her. Okay. I'm sure that won't get confusing at all.
Michelle, and Weird Bicuspid Stan.
Get ready, fight.
You'll be unhappy to learn that you have to finish the game in various ways in order to unlock different extra things. This is, you don't get cheats for it. Well, this stage is very Power Stone-ish.
I can say I'm confused for about now, I'll be honest.
Ah, so when you die, you get a decent cutaway. This would be good, except I'm pretty sure, ultimately, if you wanted this kind of fighting on the PlayStation, you'd be better off with Wu-Tang.
Get ready, fight.
I just don't think the engine was made for this kind of more player-on-player fighting.
Yeah, beat 'em up since the beginning of time have had the 1 vs 1 or the verse mode, but almost invariably they're not very good because the engine's not built for it.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, even like some of the Streets of Rage, no one likes acting the battle mode, do they?
No, no one likes the battle mode.
I'm sure someone can about to correct me, but you're still wrong.
It's just simply that it's not very good, because the whole game is based on positioning, and you can't do positioning correctly when it's sort of based on reactive rather than, what is the other word? Not reactive. Initiative.
Get ready, fight.
So I'll try one more match to show off the last character I haven't shown off yet.
I'm assuming you could plug in a multi-tap and do 4-player burst mode if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I always didn't really like how you always had like a separate peripheral to do 4-player stuff.
Michelle. Ushi. Hector. Michelle.
Well, it's kind of frustrating that there were only 2 control ports on the PlayStation, but I'm not going to hold that against them because there weren't many systems that came with 4 players by default. I believe it was, what, the 3DO and then the N64?
No, the 3 only had 1. You just had a controller port to plug in the actual controller.
Well, I mean, so you could support 4 players out of the box, though, correct?
If you had 4 controllers, yeah.
Well, yeah, but no system ever came with 4 controllers, I don't think. But in terms of default 4-player support, it wasn't until you got wireless controllers that you really had 4 players available from the get-go.
Right.
I think Nintendo, you know, they obviously, the N64 and the GameCube. Actually, Xbox had 4 players. It was more of a Sony thing then, really. They didn't bother to add more controllers. I do wonder if it was partially the PlayStation was kind of the most underpowered of the system. Like, the PlayStation 2 wasn't as powerful as the Xbox or the GameCube, so maybe they didn't want to divert the resources from it. Because obviously, aside from this kind of single-screen game, your 4-player split-screen tends to be more processor-intensive.
That's 4 times the render work to do, basically.
If you're wondering, yes, I am having a hard time keeping up with this.
Also, you're fighting Bruce Lee, which is nice.
Also, I'm also Bruce Lee. At least
So
it's
why
seemed
did
to
you
have
pick him? I mean, you really made a huge mistake not picking him.
Yeah,
You know,
she seems kind of
this
terrible in retrospect.
this kind of yeah, your character's too slow, I think. Ushi's too slow to do much. This actually reminds me a little bit more of Poi Poi than an actual fighting game.
I never played Poi Poi. Is it actually any good?
Yes! It's an interesting game, and it has quite a robust single-player mode, which you wouldn't necessarily expect.
You know, I'll be honest. I think my favorite kind of party thing on the PS1 is Crash Bash, because people give that game a lot more crap than it deserves.
No, it really deserves all the crap it gets. That's a terrible game, Bob.
Well, maybe if you're playing a single player, well, the single player mode's kind of terrible.
Get ready. Fight.
Like, I mean, it's better than Sonic Shuffle, but having your nails removed with pliers is kind of getting almost better than Sonic Shuffle.
Okay, I'll agree there.
I think my main problem with Crash Bash was that there were, I think I've said this before, I don't know if I've said it on a video before, but there weren't diverse enough minigames, and the ones that were there weren't good enough to justify it only having a few.
Mostly I just appreciate just them skipping the board game stuff, since... Does anyone actually like that part of Mario Party, the board game?
Well, I liked it, more or less when I was playing it when I was younger. I think, it's alright. It adds a little bit of... Because, you know, pure minigames is a bit of a drag, you know, just to run through minigames. It can get very tiresome. So that extra break in between is nice.
And at this point, I think we've clearly exhausted all discussion potential of Gekido Urban Fighters. Maybe sometime we'll come back and look at GBA's sequel, but I have not played that yet, so I'd prefer not to look like a total idiot while I do so.
Yeah, if someone on the comments says, hey, do the GBC ABC sequel, we'll do it.
The
Because I
BBC
believe
sequel?
that's another... that's a pretty impressive demo scene game as well, isn't it? Like, it's a good beat 'em up on the handheld.
I don't know, you're not quite a star of a choice for good beat 'em ups on the Game Boy Advance, because you have the TMNT, and I think that Star Wars Episode 3 game is pretty good too.
And wasn't there a River City Ransom EX in that relatively competent Final Fight port?
You're right. So you're not such
And
like...
that was, yeah. I was just gonna say, you know, like, finish what you want to say, because I know you want to talk about Game Boy.
So you're not really star of a choice and left with, like, what, 3 beat 'em ups worth playing like you were on PS1. Kind of weird, because, like, for all the variety and all the choice of genres you have in PS1, beat 'em ups just had, like, nothing. Which makes sense, because as KaL said, they're pretty much dead around this time.
Yeah, like, we haven't mentioned another game called Crisis Beat, which is an okay game. It's not terrible, but yeah, you really, don't bother for PlayStation 1 games. Gekido is probably the best, and then maybe Crisis Beat, maybe Fighting Force, and then that's it. Like, nothing else I think is worthwhile.
Anyway, thank you all for joining us once more, and we'll see you next time.
Good night, everyone.